Hello, all Indoors TV viewers. Rapala has recently appointed a new CEO, and we'll be interviewing him today in this interview. Welcome, Cyril, to the interview.
Thank you very much, Thomas, for your invitation. It's very important for me to present myself to the Finnish community. I think it's a big change to have me on board, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Yes, and you held a presentation yesterday at the AGM, which is available on our website, so investors can get to know you there too. But maybe we dig a bit deeper into some other topics. But as you're a new face to most of our viewers, would you like to present yourself a bit broadly first?
Well, I'm French, as you don't hear, but I can. Well, you probably hear. I grew up in France. Did my upper education, my master's degree in France in business administration with a major in finance. But I've lived most of my life abroad. I've lived in the US. I've lived in Germany 5 years, in Spain 4 years. I've lived shortly in India, and I've lived in Switzerland. So, and today I live in the happiest country in the world with my wife and 4 kids. 2 were born in Germany, 1 in Spain, and 1 in Switzerland. So I'm very much at ease in very international environments. Then important issue also for me. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial family, long-term thinking, and that also is quite a core aspect of who I am, and we'll have probably more opportunities to talk about that.
Yeah, we're more than happy to have you and your family here in Finland, and I can imagine running a very international company like Rapala. It's a great asset for you to have lived and seen so many different countries.
Yes, it allows me. Well, at Rapala, I developed our German operations when we started after we split our distribution with Shimano. Then it was for me relatively natural to set up our operations in Germany, speaking the language, being really at ease with the culture and knowing the company. So yes, it's in a company which has 35 subsidiaries globally. It's a small company, but at the same time, it's a big company in the fact that we are present in so many countries, and we address a leisure that's local, that's cultural, and so you need to get into the people's world to understand them, so that you best address the business opportunities that are in every country.
Yeah, maybe in order to allow investors to get a deeper sense into your skills and experiences, what kind of previous work experience have you, or previous positions have you been in?
So I'm an operations person and finance. So I joined Rapala in 2014, and prior to that, I worked 13 years in the Bosch Group, so very industrial. That's where I moved in various countries, and I was in controlling and supply chain, lean manufacturing functions. So I'm a very hands-on and very operational profile. And I joined Rapala, so in my core competence as head of supply chain. And supply chain is core in our company. Or you can imagine with the diversity of products that we have to address fishing tackle needs, the number of countries we handle. We have manufacturing, and I'll come back to that as well as when we'll talk about our strategy. So that's where I joined and where I felt the most comfortable. And then I evolved in the group. Having worked on supply chain issues to streamline our supply chain, I was then given the opportunity to develop the market. So I shifted to a new area for me, which was sales and distribution for all our Central European markets.
So you got an extensive background in sales, operations, even leadership positions here in Rapala. I can imagine you know the business very well, but how about the hook business? I can imagine, considering your family background, that's something that's very close to your heart.
Yes, it's very special. I grew up in that business. It was a business that developed. My father. It was a small family business when he took it over, and so I know it very well from the inside. I know its workers. My primary school was in the courtyard of the factory, so at every recess I could hear the hook machines from the open windows in the summer. So that's how close I was, and I could, after school, walk to my father's office, walk through the factory. So I know that unit really from the inside, very deep. And it's also, as it was a small business, I've been used to having customers at home. Customers slept over at home, and customers were friends, almost like family. And that's how I've been raised, and how I also live it. The fishing tackle industry is a very small business. When you look at the largest players in our industry, and we are one of them, it's like I would say it's three supermarkets or four supermarkets. It's the turnover of 4 Prismas. So that's to put it in relationship. And so it's a small world. People know each other. People are passionate, and the part of relationship in the business is quite important, and that's something I also value very much.
And how would you describe your leadership style? Feels like relationships and sales is one thing you value, but maybe broadening out on that topic.
I am not hierarchical. That's although I'm Latin, I am not hierarchical. It's that's for me. I believe my role is to develop entrepreneurs. So I am here to make people grow, to give them the tools, the rules, the framework, the processes that allow them to flourish with they bring in their passion, their expertise in fishing tackle, and my goal is to make them from passionate anglers to entrepreneurs, so that they create value. That's and with that, I'm a very KPI oriented person. I'm an enabler. If the people I coach are in difficulty, I go down in the play field, and I will do it with them. And if I have the ability, sometimes it can be subjects that are not of my core competence, but then I'll say, okay, well, I'll do it with you. Okay, we'll if you're in difficulty, then we'll do it together. So that's a bit in a nutshell my principle. So very people oriented, but very process, very KPI, so that the person can be autonomous and say, okay, and that what you don't measure, you don't improve. And again, giving a lot of autonomy, because in our business, since it's global, cultural, species specific, we will not have a one size fits all. So and our strength is to be present all over the world, and I want my guys in Australia to make the right calls at the right time, to know their markets. I give them the best processes so that they can measure their performance in a standardized manner and benchmark with others and make the right calls.
So I can imagine you're hoping to see you being able to send decision making down closer to the clients within your organization based on this.
Exactly. That's we were a very entrepreneurial company in our former model when I joined, and then we had cultural changes and a very and a more centralized approach, which I believe was not the right way. And I'm coming back, sorry, to bringing back more entrepreneurial responsibility, but not. That doesn't mean creating silos that everyone say, "Well, it's my company." No, they have more decision power, but the way they are measured is very standardized. So so very strong KPI orientation. It takes time, such cultural changes.
Yeah.
So I do things also. That's also one aspect of my management style. I don't want to break an organization. I'm not here for revolutions. I'm here for transformations, and to accompany people and to also have them on board. So I spent a lot of time explaining the strategy, where we're going. I also believe that when the people are convinced about where we go, that's where you get the maximum drive.
Yeah. And you mentioned strategy there. You have been executing on the one more turn strategy for a couple of years now and made some modifications to it last fall. How would you summarize this strategy, and what are maybe some key focus areas that you focus on here?
So in the strategy, one very important thing now, it's continuity. There's I worked hand in hand with Lars Holberg. I was his deputy CEO. I was in charge of the strategy works under his leadership. So there's the will to have a smooth transition in the leadership of the company, and there is a need in our business specifically to have strategy stability, because our business is affected by very long-term trends, and you can't change every year where you're focusing on, because then you really lose a business focus. Our cycles are pretty long, from ideation, product development, bringing the items to market. So it's important to have stability. So the strategy remains for us. Our number one priority is cash. It remains cash, and that's been the focus in the last 2 years. It's not a very sexy strategy. It's a necessity, and it's working. I think I'm a man of facts. So here there's a lot of talking, but you will assess what I tell you on the numbers we provide. So if I steer my people with KPIs, I also accept that I'm also assessed on numbers, not on words. And here, so cash remains our utmost priority. We need to deleverage ourselves, and straighten up our balance sheet. So that's and that goes through a strong focus on gross margin, on our on working capital, and on fixed costs. And so this is very clear. On the overall business, our focus remains to become a brand powerhouse. That's it's something we have always advocated, but not always completely implemented, as our business in Europe was mainly a wholesale business, but what people maybe saw less. And if what we have changed massively in the last 5 years is that we have transformed our business from a wholesale business to a brand-focused, brand-building business. That explains mainly the reduction in sales is through this shift. And so the focus is to grow our brands. We need strong brands, less brands, stronger brands. And we need to have a faster growth on our flagship Rapala brand. So that's was in the strategy, and it's continued today. The adjustment, it's also my spices, my sauce, my way to do things. I'm strengthening a Rapala or a brand organization and a Rapala organization, which we did not have specifically in the past, to really have this, so that I have a team that can be assessed on the brand performance. That's one of the. Then I believe that what makes us unique is the fact that we are manufacturers and partnering with manufacturers. When we are not ourselves manufacturing the products, actually we don't do sourcing through various companies. We mainly work as exclusive partners from other manufacturers. So we understand their manufacturing constraints as we are ourselves. And I believe this setup, being manufacturers or partnering with manufacturers, is important. It allows us to be more agile in the supply chain. It allows us to better control innovation. It allows us to work authentically and genuinely on sustainability. There will be the sustainability is core as well in our strategy, and it's in our core out of conviction, because then it's we are outdoor enthusiasts, and we believe that well, if we want fishing to go on forever, then we have to also set the example. And second, I believe as manufacturers, then you can advocate that message of being a sustainable company in a more true manner, because you control all the process, so you know exactly what you do. And so the strategy, and in terms of profitability, the fact that we are manufacturers is also, if we have the right scale, and today we have the right scale, it's actually largely our most profitable business.
Based on your answer, it feels like the focus really is on profitability and cash flow. It took you quite a while till you mentioned growth for the first time. So would it be an issue for you if Rapala's revenue wouldn't grow as long as the main brand's revenues grows? I.e. that the revenue growth of the main brands would be offset by shrinkage elsewhere.
So when you want the maximum return on the capital employed, you are naturally very cautious on growth. So in the short term, we are focusing on growth where we're taking the easy battles. So where we have a real competitive advantage. So I take my top 5 categories, brands and categories, and that's where we hammer the growth, because that's where we have I believe in victories, and so easy targets, easy battles, victories for the time being. And once we have more firepower, then I will come back and have probably have a different view. But we need to. There's a sense of realism Right now, it's straightening out the balance sheet. So we are growing on our core brands, core categories, where we have the strongest brand notoriety, and we are able to bring the most differentiated products with the best competitive cost, and that generates the best results.
And talking of easy battles and firepower, if you have firepower somewhere, it's really in the Rapala brand. So how do you see the role of the brand going forward? Some years back, Rapala was rather conservative with using the brand and maybe expanding the brand into new categories. But lately you've expanded into the Crush City product, for example. How do you see the role of the Rapala brand going forward when it comes to new product expansion?
Well, the Rapala brand is a jewel. First thing, it was born here. It was very smartly and creatively developed in the United States and then all over the world. The sound of it, and for you as Finns, you don't see it, but for foreigners, it's a wonderful sounding brand. So it has a lot for it. It's a brand that is unique in the sense that it brings a smile. No brands, I don't know many brands that manufacture sports or outdoor gear that are likable, that are fun. And this has been built, you all know, you've seen the videos, if you are on the fishing trip of a lifetime, don't be the ones who forget the Rapalaan. You see the plane flying and then the guy is thrown out of the plane because he forgot the Rapalaans. Or no brand has this twink and this. So that's been built over many years. It's unique, and the aim is to grow that brand for the fishing world, the anglers in the world. They must go to Rapala for innovation, fun, and live their passion beyond the hard bait, which was the original core in Vaxu, a few kilometers away from here. That's a route we had taken in the past with all the accessories and very successfully, and it had been a bit on pause. And recently, we have expanded it with, as you underlined, the soft bait with Crush City. Massive success beyond all expectations, and we plan to do more. When we bring innovation of the Rapala brand, it has to have the right recipe, but that's our goal, to really grow that brand, and that it is in the top 5 or 10 brands in the world in terms of notoriety, but in sales value, it's much smaller than its peers. So it's if you go all over the world and you ask about, okay, can you give me to a fishing enthusiast, you're in Amazonia, you're in Indonesia, you're in Japan, you're everywhere, or can you give me 5 to 10 brands in fishing? I'm pretty confident it will pop out, but then our total sales are with other brands that are very, very strong and respectable, but we are much smaller.
So you're saying
in total sales.
So you're saying the Rapala brand is underutilized sales-wise compared to the brand strength and value?
Correct. But we must do it smartly. We can't just milk the brand and say and put the brand on anything. It has to be done smartly. It has to be done respecting the DNA of the brand. It's Nordic. It's Finnish origins. It's the quality expectation, and that's why we have now a dedicated, or the Rapala brand was handled by many people. Now they are all connected into one team, and they have brand growth KPIs, which we didn't have in the past.
So Rapala has a broad brand portfolio. How do you see the role of this going forward?
I see it as essential. So we just spoke long over the Rapala brand and how it's our crown jewel and core asset. But one of our strengths is to be multi-branded. We have beautiful brands that address different market segments, whether by fishing technique, by price point, or being category experts. And that's allows us to create more entrepreneurs. That's for me very important. Again, to come back to my management style, I want managers that head brands because that's super fun. So if I look at lines, we have the Suffix brand, which is a beautiful brand and with a innovative, has won ICAST and XTEX prizes many years in a row, brought great innovations. So we need to have a dedicated Suffix team. VMC, which we also mentioned earlier, it's a beautiful brand with a beautiful history. Company dating back to 1796, developed hooks in 1910, lots of know-how in its people, great values. So here we have a strong team, and it's fun for the guy managing VMC. He has his brand, his team, his marketing team, his PD, his factory, and then I bring in the infrastructure to succeed. The same for Okuma, the partnership we developed since now for 5 years almost, and it's we have now dedicated Okuma team to the Okuma brand addresses our rod and reel category in Europe, as well as it's a different segment than Rapala. It addresses also other fishing techniques, different price points, and that's this multi-branded, this house of brands is really key to our success.
So going back to this topic of decentralized decision making, I guess you could imagine this as if these teams are companies within the company working on their own brand with the support of the Rapala organization in the background.
Correct. That's if I where I envision the group is having strong heads of brands, entrepreneurs that breathe the brand, designers, they love their brand, they know their markets. I do not mention Martini. Martini is also a fantastic brand. The products are unique. It also allows us to go a bit outside fishing, which is also interesting for us. So the business model having strong brand heads. Dynamite Baits, beautiful brand for ground baits, boilies in the carp match fishing segment, where Rapala is completely out. Rapala is a predator brand. And so strong brand organizations that have PD, marketing, sales that with the right KPIs, and then the headquarters, the Rapala VMC headquarters, provide them the best infrastructure so they can focus on their markets, and we provide them the best-in-class data for them to assess and steer their business, best-in-class supply chain, procurement, finance, HR processes for them also to assess their people, to develop a company culture, and that's the vision.
How do you see the role of Rapala's extensive distribution network or global sales force going forward? As I can imagine that some of the markets you're in are where there's a big delta between the most profitable markets and the less profitable ones. Do you see that going forward you're going to maybe leverage the better ones even more, maybe scale back on some of the investments in the less profitable market areas, or how should investors think about this?
So the key, our global presence is an asset. We are very strong in North America, and as you underline, the bigger you are, the more profitable you are. In Europe, we are very strong, and but we are in a transformation mode from our past wholesale business to now a brand-oriented business. What we are doing and focusing on is when we have too much infrastructure, and we have reduced. We had 13 warehouses in Europe. We now have 2 main ones. Is to keep in the market the essential and try to centralize what is supporting the catering to the market. So we need to have. It would be sad to pull out even of markets where we are relatively small, but we need to keep sales, marketing that is dedicated to the market, so we can maximize long-term opportunities. In Europe, we are on a good path with all the change that we've done in the last 2 years. Another region where we are relatively small is Asia Pacific. I will have the similar answer to you, Thomas. I intend to keep our APAC distribution or sales distribution network. Asia is the fastest growing market in the world. It's 2/3 of global population. Fishing is big in this territory. We are relatively small, but if we want to be long-term a big global fishing powerhouse, we have to be in the Asia Pacific area. So we are working on being more sales, marketing focused, and streamlining what is all support infrastructure, supply chain. But it would be a big setback to pull out because the units are they are not contributing as much as larger countries. The most difficult thing when you start a garden is the first years of the plant. You put a seed, and then so in the Asia Pacific area, we don't have just small plants. We have small trees, and these trees, once we also have the right resources, then we can expand them, and a lot of growth will come from those territories.
I can imagine the longer term growth opportunities are in Asia, but how do you feel? How do you need a different playbook in order to be successful in Asia compared to the Western countries? Because I can imagine the recipe for success does, to a certain extent, differ there.
Asia is very even more fragmented than Europe as a market. We are present in Australia, in South Korea, in China, in Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. But each of these individual markets are very different in techniques, so it's difficult for me to give you an answer for the territory as a whole. We have, for each country, even if they are small, different approaches and strategy for each country. Right now, that's how we are set up, and we give it. There are many issues to tackle that we have to tackle globally, but for each one we still have defined an approach, and they will grow.
And maybe moving on, to a topic that's on every investor's mind right now. I can imagine you get a lot of this, but what's your current view on the trade war situation and the US tariffs?
So obviously it's impacting us. That's was also in the press. There was, I think, a ranking of all the I think it was in Helsinki Sanomat or in that all the ranking of all Finnish companies are mostly exposed to the tariff war, I would say, or tariff. But in that specific situation, I would say we have challenges, but also opportunities. That's one first thing I'd like to underline. So we are, yes, exposed to China for all our US business, but we have the advantage, if we compare to our peers, that's always important, that our lures are made in Europe, our hooks are made in Europe. We also have a lot of sourcing outside of China, in Taiwan, in Vietnam, and in other countries. So we have risks and we have opportunities.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. For where we have challenges, we have set up a task force in the US with a dedicated person that we have taken from his operational responsibility. So, and we have listed all our items, and we have action points that are very different. It goes from finding solutions, pricing discussions with the suppliers. It goes with potential resourcing outside of China with our partner supplier. The idea right now is to work and support our historical partners. It can we have also transfer pricing model discussions for importing in the US. We have also range management and trying to discontinue items that have and to focus on other items that are lower runners and would be strongly impacted. There are discussions with our customers. So there's a dedicated task force, regular reviews, and we have a lot of action points, and we trigger those when we are sure, because it's highly volatile. So you need to be prepared. You need to have your different scenarios, have the right numbers. Okay, what's the cost of resourcing, the new tooling and everything. So we have everything, we have clarity. And then once we have, and we make calls per project to minimize the impact and maximize our opportunities. That's how we are handling it. So we're taking it very seriously, and it's time consuming, but I think there's no other way to do it.
Yes, from a CEO point of view, I can imagine it being very frustrated and not knowing where the country-specific tariffs are going to end up, as we're on a 90-day break currently.
Correct. Yeah, the reciprocal tariffs we will know beginning of July.
Yeah.
Which countries come back to the previous announced rates, or which ones. But I think from the whole economic community, everyone knows that the supply chains are completely interconnected. Yeah. And today there's an embargo. There's no products that are going through between China and the United States, and that's not viable. And it's not fishing that will be hit first. The automotive industry, the aerospace industry has Chinese components, and so once Boeing assembly lines will stop, then probably something will happen. We are very active with the American Sports Fishing Association. We have that's also important to me. We have a member in the board, and the ASA is very active to lobby because they see that a lot of small businesses rely on trade, and they are already in difficulties if no agreement is found rapidly. So it's a small action, but an important one, and I believe all industries are doing the same.
Yes. And am I right if I say that the American fishing accessory market is very trade dominant? There's not a whole lot of local manufacturing there with your competitors either.
Correct. Yeah, there is higher end rods.
Yeah.
But the major part of the rods are made in Asia. Yeah. There is some lure manufacturing, small line manufacturing, but mainly it's a trading. Yeah. It's a product development, marketing, in the value chains. That's where the value is local, but in the execution and the manufacturing of the products, it's mainly overseas.
And from your point of view, being a global player, I can imagine that once we get some kind of a clarity to the tariff situation, you are able to move your value chain somewhat in order to react to this.
Correct. We'll have different schemes, as said, with different. You have to go in the details. You can't. There's no like one big decision. It's going line by line, and tools, knives, ice drills, lures, everything. We have, and again, respecting our partners, doing it with them, and as again, we are long term, and we believe on the customer side and on the supplier side, we're with long term partnerships that they create value, and so that's we will see opportunities on the where we have an advantage, where we are hook manufacturing is mainly in China. There's one player in the United States, but it's mainly in China. So being here European, we will have some opportunities. Lures as well, hard baits. So it will not completely compensate all the fuss, and it's in the end it will be this tariff game will have a cost on everyone.
Yeah, and the current situation just isn't sustainable. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But to end on a high note, in the mornings when you head off to work as the CEO of Rapala, what are you the most excited about?
The team. It's we have a passionate, dedicated team, and it's exciting to see all the new products we have in our pipeline, the energy of our marketing teams, that the people at Rapalaan, it's more than work. It's much more than work, and that as a CEO, it's very energizing, and that's what I enjoy the most.
Feels like you truly enjoy the category you're in. Thank you, Cyril Villard, for the interview, and good luck with the upcoming summer fishing season.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Thank you for hosting me again.